G'day guys, this is Adam Kogan here from SSW TV, and I am here with Ravi Shanker. How are you, Ravi?
Wonderful, Adam.
Awesome. So Ravi is in charge of the Visual Studio Test team and brings us the beautiful browser experience. And we've been using that for about a year, the Chrome extension, and we are super happy with it. And the reason that I really wanted to interview you again, I know we interviewed last year, but I think if all teams are using this, it really improves their development cadence because, number one, you can't do a bad bug report with your experience. You also get a consistent experience. Like each PBI you go down and you exploratory test each one. Yep. You don't have to muck around with any of this manual testing and all that friction of setting up test cases, test steps, test plans, all that type of stuff. It's just so simple. And for the bigger companies, they want the traceability. They want to know what has been, which ones got tested. They want to have a record of that. They want to know what development happened and all that stuff. So you help in the traceability. So I am hoping that you've done some cool stuff in the last 12 months and you're going to show us some stuff.
Absolutely. We have done quite a bit of stuff on the browser extension. We have initially, when we talked last time, we just had the screenshot capability. So we have actually taken it much broader to say we've added a bunch of capture modes, whether it is the screenshots, the notes, the image action log or the actions that you're taking on the application, the screen recording, the page loads. So all sorts of captures. Then you actually go create those artifacts that you're interested in, whether it is bug, whether it is task, whether it is test case, or whether it is a feedback response from the stakeholders. And then finally, the collaborate angle, wherein you actually collaborate within the team, either using the set of bugs and the artifacts that you create, or also as part of the traceability and sort of figuring out what all has been bug bash / exploratory tested and what has not. So capture, create, collaborate is what we've been focusing on for the past 1 year.
Okay, so it sounds like my bug reports will be even richer and better.
That's right, Adam.
Awesome, okay.
So I'm still back in here in Chrome. So I've got the extension up here. I can do it the last time the way I had. Okay. Instead, your favorite item, I have got a PBI on the Kanban board. I can actually do the exploratory testing right from here. And now that has initiated the extension for me. It's ready for me. Now if I go and start my exploratory testing, you'll automatically see that. Okay. 1 second. Can we cut that?
Yes.
Sorry.
So just go back to that step.
Just 1 second.
Can you plug that in?
Yes, thank you.
So we'll just go back to the very beginning. So the last thing I said to you was, so let's check it out. So you need to say we're in Chrome or whatever we're in. I think we're in Chrome, right?
Yep. So here's what we've got the extension installed. And right from here, now you can see that we've added a lot more stuff. I can go start from here, but I'll instead not go from here, but actually go back to your favorite request last time around, which was right from the Kanban board, be able to do my exploratory testing.
Right.
Okay, here we are in Chrome, and here's the extension. If I go click on it, you'll actually see that we have done a bunch of stuff over here, and I can start off the testing right from over here.
Right. Now, I generally advise against just randomly testing everywhere. I know some people like it, but I like to do it organized. So we do every individual PBI is tested. Can we do it that way?
Wonderful. So here's, I've got the Kanban board right up here. Here's the PBI that I want to do testing on. Can actually do launch exploratory testing right from here.
Beautiful.
And then this sets up the connection for me. So now if I go in and start my session, you'll see that traceability is automatically built in. I've being able to see the acceptance criteria that was entered for that particular PBI. And now anything that I do will be sort of linked along with it.
I love how you've shown the acceptance criteria front and center now.
Yep, wonderful. So from here, let's now go after, this was about Surface Dial. So let's actually go in there and say Microsoft.com Surface.
I think this is the same site you tested last year.
Last time it was Surface. This time I'm going after Surface Dial, the new one.
Okay.
Right. So here now it's sort of loaded. I want to go after Surface Dial. That's what I want to go open up. And this comes in now. And clearly, as a product owner or as a stakeholder, I don't find this too appealing. There's too much white space. So I want to go record that right up over here, right? So I can say, take the same screenshot that I showed last time around, and a simple one to say, too much white space.
Nice, all right. I like images.
Right, and then we got that. And now let's go file off a bug, right? So if I go create a bug, last time it was just bug, you have a task or you have a test case. So let's start off with a bug.
I question if that's a bug. It's just a lot of white space, but all right, I'll run with it.
Yeah. So now you also see that we have started recording the time it took for each of the page to actually load up.
Wow.
So it took about more than 5 seconds for the main Surface page to load, followed by, when I actually came to Surface Dial, that took about almost another 5 seconds.
Wow.
So instead of just being subjectively saying, oh, this site is slow or not, now we can actually look at objectively to say, okay, and then even I'd have no clue about performance testing, but I can use that to actually go file the appropriate bug.
All right, I agree now. I'd call that a bug, a 5-second load time.
Okay, and another thing that if you notice is we've also started recording every step that you were taking on. So I clicked on accessories, Surface Dial and stuff.
Beautiful.
And then here's my screenshot with the annotation which is filled in.
Beautiful.
Right? Now if I start typing something in here.
Can I recommend that you put bug at the beginning of your...
Sure, we'll do that. That's the best practice that you actually mentioned. So bugs, spacing issues. And as I start typing, if you notice on the side, you also started seeing the similar bugs. So if you don't want to create duplicate bugs, so while you're doing that, you automatically checked out to say if there's the same thing or not.
Well done,
this is
Ravi.
on a different page. Yeah.
Excellent.
So because this is a different one, I can ignore this and actually go create a new bug.
Right.
Spacing issues on dial page, right?
Is there a reason you've got the widest big button, save button in history?
So this one you're talking about? Yeah. So it's one of those, everything is small, so something to sort of come out, right? So here's where I can go create a bug right now.
Beautiful.
In addition to this, I could also take that and say create a test case. So every step that I actually took is now actually captured as part of the steps that I want. And from here, I can go add my thing to say verify that this shows up, right? So what I'm doing over here is while I was doing my execution, I'm also designing my test case, which is the core of exploratory testing. Right? So now this is actually showing up accordingly.
So, all right, so this is new work as well.
This is also new.
I thought that what you had done is you'd moved us away from MTM, because we don't need MTM anymore now. We've got this browser experience. And MTM, we did test cases and test steps. I thought you had moved away from that as well, but it looks like you've got it here as well.
No, it is there because if you want to continue to do some sort of planned manual testing, or you want to actually put it as part of a regression testing, that you want to make sure that, okay, when the bug is actually fixed, you want to go after and verify it. So from that perspective, you've got it. Now, if you're not interested in the planned manual testing, this doesn't need to be created for you, right? So that was about a test case. In addition, same way you can actually go create a task. Big debate out there to say a PBI which is ongoing, should it be a bug, should it be a task? Well, we have the option, you pick and choose what you want over there.
Okay.
Right?
So we've logged the bug now. Is that bug attached to the original PBI, or is it just sitting out there as an island?
Very good question. So for that, I'll say that it is attached. So you actually go to the timeline, look at I started with exploring that user
Yes.
story, and then I took the screenshot and the bug. You see the bug is automatically linked to the story. And to make it really obvious and prove it to you, that let's open up the bug, and you see that it is actually related right over here.
Okay, so if we go back to the backlog
Yep.
and look at the actual PBI,
There you see.
all right, I can see it there, but
Right.
the original one,
Yep.
it doesn't have any little red marker on it or something.
Yeah, so it is, so the PBI is actually only showing the data about its PBI. The data within all the links is currently still showing up as part of your related work, and this is where the thing actually shows
Right,
up.
I would definitely like that to be more obvious. I would like a little red number one, because there's one. If I log a second bug, I'd like to see number two,
Yep.
that type of thing. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So basically, what you're asking for is another type of annotation, just like tasks or tests. You could have a bugs annotation, which would sort of show up over there. So it's something on the backlog
Okay,
for the team
alright.
to go after. But yes,
As long as it's
yeah,
high on the
Raj.
backlog, good.
So that was a simple way of creating my test. And obviously, the other thing that we've added is the ability to do full-fledged screen recording. So every step for those flaky issues that you're running into, and I cannot describe using a screenshot, I can actually go create a screen recording and say I want to pick up the entire screen recording for the entire desktop and start my screen recording, do my actions, and then come and stop the recording or directly file the bug, and that would actually go in and get created using your screen recording,
And
which
that's
gets automatically added to the bug
Right.
as well.
And that's just all in the extension.
It's all in the extension, no, nothing to install per se as such.
Okay.
So this is in a very short nutshell what we have done with integration with the boards, with more capture modes. What I didn't talk to about is the report that we actually created off here, right? The one which was taking 5 seconds, right? This was a good starting point for the person as a product owner who doesn't have the technical angle or a stakeholder. I have just given that. But as a developer, when I'm actually looking at this, I can say, yes, this is 5 seconds, but I don't know what all happened. Well, you have the entire report right over here. So if you actually go click that, we generate the full report. If you look up the report, it actually shows the entire time where it has been spent, on the entire navigation time and where it took on, and then the view of the resource chart to actually show you where the time was spent, and clearly there's some optimization that can be done here. So it's a quick starting point for your, it is not a full-fledged end solution, but it's a good starting point for the developer to actually go figure out where the time is actually being spent. So this is the other capture mode that we have added as such.
Okay, awesome. Now, I've got a few questions.
Sure.
First one, if I want to use Snagit because I like a certain type of balloons and different things, how do I do it?
Yeah, so you take this Snagit. I don't have it installed right now on this, but you would take your screenshot wherever you want, and then when you're ready to create a bug, just come in, paste it, go in. It's a full-fledged editable view, and come and paste it over here.
Oh,
so you
so
can
it's-
do everything over the outside
Alright.
of, if you don't like this annotation,
Okay.
do everything outside, copy through the clipboard, come and paste it, and it's now part of the flow.
Okay, all right. So now we've done a great bug report. The developer has to go and fix it. I'm going to guess you're not going to give us an IntelliTrace, like an iTrace. That would be awesome if we got that.
So not right now, Adam. Not something I'm looking at, but we'll evaluate.
Okay, all right. Well, I'd like that to be put on the backlog too, because it's great if a developer... Look, IntelliTrace is awesome because a developer can... they don't have to go and reproduce the steps that are shown.
Absolutely.
They can just double-click, open that guy up. They get to the line of code. Now, of course, you know, it's not a magical fix, but at least you know where it broke.
Right.
And that's why I would like it to be added as well.
Yeah. One additional point that I do want to talk about, this is, we were just looking at all of this in Chrome. We have done exact same thing now in Firefox as well. So if you are in Firefox 50, which should be going live very soon, the entire extension, whatever I showed you, is available for you in that mode as well. In addition, we have also integrated the same thing for a stakeholder. So in this case, I'm logged into Firefox as a stakeholder, I also have the ability to go provide feedback. The one you said, no, is it a bug or should it be a feedback? If you are a stakeholder, you can actually come through the exact same set of image action log, the page load data, but instead of creating a bug, you can put in your feedback responses, rate what you want, what you felt appropriate, and file the response as well. So the stakeholders are also using the same tool set, just based on whether it is your login credentials. We automatically fine-tune the tool to go after and give you that experience.
Okay, I'd just like to ask you a couple more questions on that.
Sure.
Because when we were thinking of testers before, when we were looking at the tool, now you're thinking stakeholder. I'm thinking product owner, and I'm going to ask you, why doesn't the product owner just do exploratory tests and do the same thing?
Product owner, anybody within the team. So the mantra that I've been using on this one is everybody owns quality in an agile team. Whether it is a product owner, whether it's a tester, whether it's a dev, whether it is a UE. So that's the core part of the team. But then you have the set of stakeholders who are outside the team, like your sales team, the marketing team.
Right.
Those guys, they don't have the details of this, but they can be still using the same extension.
Right.
And for them, you don't even have to buy or any of this stuff. You're part of the organization as a stakeholder. You just install the extension and you're able to provide feedback. So that's a slight distinction.
Right.
Product owner, it's part of the team. I would just do exploratory testing.
Okay, all right, yeah, I totally get it.
And the last one that I wanted to show is same thing available in Edge, though this is going to come at the time frame of the RS2 version, which is sometime in the next year, but everything available in Edge as well. Oh. So last year we started from Chrome, 0 installs. Now 1 year later, just on Chrome, we have over 20,000 installs of this, and with Edge and Firefox support coming up very soon.
So is your tool in the Visual Studio Marketplace one of the top tools?
Exactly. So this is let's go back here and look at Marketplace. This is the second most popular extension.
Oh.
With over 20,000.
Which is the top?
The first one is, what happened here? Okay, I'm still going back to this. Doing a search there. Yeah, so the top one is code search, and we have test and feedback, which is we have renamed because we have gone GA as well, so it's generally available, and we have over 20K. It's the second most popular extension.
Okay, and you're only 1K off the top one, so
exactly. So we're catching up.
All right, awesome. All right, okay, cool. So I would like to ask you. I would like to know, and this is kind of a suggestion because I'm going to guess you don't have it, but I'd like to see how useful was the testing I just did. So it'd be a wonderful experience.
Wonderful.
I'm going to be blown away if you've done this, but I would like to know, obviously teams are writing more and more unit tests, and after you do some exploratory testing, it'd be wonderful to know how much of what I did was already covered in unit tests as well, and how much I've gone beyond that.
Okay, I don't have the unit test coverage, but what I have a view for you is, as a team, because this is a team activity, right from here, we have given you a full-fledged insights view of exploratory testing, which actually shows you, this is on a test server, but you actually see all the work items that have been explored, and for each of these work items, what bugs. In this case, it was just the first one that I created, but you get a view of how effective the bug batch has been. In addition, if I actually go load it up using a query, and I say, give me a list of all the stories in this current sprint, now what I can see is there are 4 stories, and of which only 1 is tested, and I can actually go back and look at all the unexplored ones, and I clearly see that there's more that needs to be done as well. So you get a quick view of what has been explored, what has not been explored, and for the item which has been explored, how effective that has been, how many sessions have been done, total time that has been spent on, who all worked on it. So you get the good ROI view of whether bug bashes or exploratory testing is actually useful or not. You are asking a little bit further along to say, okay, in addition to how do I tie this back to, that PBI was actually tested against using unit testing or functional testing, how can I loop that back in? Good idea. Okay. I'll add it.
You'll add it to the backlog.
I'll add it to the backlog.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I was wondering if you've done any thinking. There's this whole people talk about shift left, and what they're trying to do is when you do development, you start off and you get development done, and then you do some unit tests and you do the build, and then there's a whole lot of testing and testing and more testing and more testing, and we get into production. So it would be awesome if like some of that stuff can be pulled further back into the early stages so that a PBI doesn't get slower to get out. Like you do a lot of the early stuff up front. Now, I'm not really sure whether this is an area you think about or it's an area that you can solve, but definitely if more of the manual, like I notice you're not recording, you're not doing like you're not generating some big Selenium thing to replay, because these things just never really worked.
Correct.
And they caused more problems than they solved.
Correct.
Basically, you just need to get a lot of that stuff back into unit tests.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And are you doing anything to try to help us in our development shift left?
So not my specific team, but yes, we have the other teams which are working on this particular area. So the shift left angle, where I think as part of the upcoming release, we are talking about the live unit test. That's one which is actually coming inside the IDE. We are also looking at the test impact analysis from a CI/CD perspective, where you can actually get those tests and the impacted test, which again sort of comes upfront in the cycle. So those kind of activities are happening overall in the product, not my specific team as such.
All right. Now, can I ask, mobile apps like Xamarin apps and things, have you got any support or anything coming in that space?
Good question. So we are working with the Xamarin team right now. You're waiting on certain APIs. They're sort of going after the acquisition and stuff. They are going after a set of items. So we are waiting for the APIs. Once the APIs to interact with the mobile device actually come in, then we'll go ahead and integrate it as part of this exploratory testing extension.
So you're saying that we will test a mobile app somewhat similar to what you've just done.
Exactly.
Do exploratory test. It would call some Xamarin APIs and pop open the emulator or something. The product owner would then give some feedback on it the same way.
Correct. So I don't know whether I'll call the Xamarin API. The Xamarin API that I'm going to use is to make sure that I'm able to interact with the emulator / the actual application that is actually appearing in your browser. And from there on, the screenshots, the page loads, all of that we'll be able to get the data and be able to file the same set of bugs or feedback and things like that. So that is what we'll be going after. Not right now. We're waiting for those APIs, and once they evolve, we'll come along.
So I have a major request. I'm not sure if you'll be able to do this, but it would be awesome if when you do a sprint, let's just say you have 4 or 5 PBIs down there, you test each one of them, and then you come to the next sprint. And the next sprint, it would show you, well, for this PBI, nothing has changed from before, like the code underneath it, the unit tests, and the development code, and it was exploratory tested before. So you can do it if you want, but nothing changed.
Got it.
The next PBI, it would show you that unit test code changed, and that's the area that's changed, so you can go ahead and test it. The next one might say the development stuff, and then the next one might say it's all brand new, you know.
Okay. So not to that level, but what we have done in the product, though, is sort of bring in the concept of test annotation on the board itself, wherein you can see one aspect of it, which is the manual testing, the planned manual testing. We do have items in the backlog to say bring in the aspects of your functional testing, your unit testing, your automated testing, also to start showing up on the card, so that you can actually view to see, okay, how much testing has been completed. And then what you're asking is now do a delta between this sprint and the previous sprint, and then sort of showcase whether I should go into testing that particular PBI if nothing has changed, or should I go after something new one. So it's what you're asking is about 3 steps forward. I still need to take step 1, step 2, and get to the 3rd step.
Right. So when you're referring to card, were you saying you can go back to the original PBI and see the functional testing that was done and the unit testing that was done on the PBI?
Step number 1 would be that.
Oh,
So
that's
what
what
I
you
have, the data that I have today is on the PBI. I can actually show you how much testing has been completed with regards to planned manual testing. If I go turn on the annotation right up over here, go in here and actually turn on this annotation for test. This is for manual test. You'll be able to see that, okay, this particular one has got 2 test cases that have been marked passed, has been already tested, and I can actually look and see that yes, both of them are passed. In this case, something else. In this case, there's a lot more. So this is the first step of getting the manual testing or planned manual testing to becoming part of it. What you're asking is get the unit test, get the automated test also to show up here, and after that, then comes your request about
Right.
comparison between one previous sprint and the current sprint.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Ravi. That was awesome demo. I think everybody will love this stuff. I can't wait to be using it. And obviously the Europeans will love the Firefox stuff. That will be awesome. And I have a little present to give you to take home. Tim Tams,
Thank you.
enjoy it with a coffee.
My kids really loved it last time.
Right.
So thank you.
Awesome, that's fantastic. And that's Adam Kogan signing off for SSW TV.